Hey, friends. Hey, guys. Sorry, I'm a little bit less prepared than usual. Papers everywhere, and I don't like my space being so messy. So there we go. At least now it's clean. Let me know if you can hear me. Oh, we have some questions going on already. There we go. Amazing. Thank you, Mart. I'm just reading through these questions. I'm a little bit slow today, you guys, so please excuse me. It happens. Some days, usually I'm pretty sharp, but today, not one of those days. Okay, so let's get started. Do, 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 do. Hey guys, meow, any good news regarding what? The market? Hi, Legend. Hi from Armenia. Hello. How do you say hello in Armenian, by the way? In Georgian, it's gamarjoba, right? Yeah. I might be half Georgian, but I don't speak Georgian. I only know gamarjoba, ho, ara. That's it. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's get started with questions. All right, or maybe let's get started. So, and excuse Snickers in the background, who's going crazy. Let's see. So, how do I suggest depreciating a brand new truck? That is a great question. I actually don't know. I have an accountant who does all of that. So, that's not my area of expertise. Fun fact, the only course I got a B in university was accounting. So yeah. Any tips on dealing with the new entrant audit? So we actually just passed ours. I know in the last live I was telling you guys how we were in the middle of a new entrant audit for our baby company. We just passed ours. It's very, very easy. For us, we were able to do it online. So basically you get an email. I will make a video about this, but you get an email saying that you are being audited, and they will have a list of things you have to upload online if it's done online. Sometimes they actually come to your place of business. But in our case, it was online, and you just upload everything and then you wait. They didn't even call us this time to let us know we passed. They just sent an email. The first time with our original company, the guy actually called and said that everything's good. These are the things you have to continue doing, and that's it. But this time it was just an email saying, you passed, congrats. Let's see. I'm going to try to answer as many questions as I can. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to. Sometimes it skips. And something I realized, guys, is, sometimes rewatch my lives and I see that a lot of the questions that were posted, I actually don't get while doing the live. So if I don't answer your question, it might be because of that. But I'm going to try to get to all of them. Stephen, welcome. First time you're catching a live. This is my third one. Yeah, it's the third one. Wow. Yay. Let's see. Hi, Addiction from Miami. Hi, guys. Hi, everyone. What is Georgian? Russian? No, Georgian is not Russian. Georgian is, and I might be completely off here, but Georgian is closer to Armenian than Russian. Yeah, Georgia and Russia, they don't get along very well. Is it a good time to start dispatching? Yeah, a dispatcher carries no risk pretty much. This is the only party that I can think of within the trucking industry or the logistics chain that carries no risk. You don't need any special insurance. You might need an errors and omissions insurance, but that's pretty much it. That's just to really, really protect yourself. But yeah, it's pretty safe. The question is, are there clients? And there are. I'm actually working, by the way, guys, speaking of that, I'm working on a really, really exciting project. I'm not going to tell you guys exactly what it is, but because it's not done yet and it's going to take me a while to complete. But as I get closer to completing it, it requires some coding that I don't know how to do. So I need to learn that part first. I'll let you guys know, but it's really exciting. Just to give you an idea, it's kind of going to connect you all. It's kind of like a social network website for our community. We are moving from dry van to flatbed. Where do I suggest to send your guys? So in terms of flatbed, I haven't worked with flatbeds for a few months now. Yeah, but let me take a look. Let me take a look what I think it's the Midwest still that for flatbed it's pretty good. I know that flatbed rates in general are increasing. I believe it's the Midwest, the Southeast, and the South. This is where it's good. Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, because I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. There we go. Some other channels on YouTube are recommending that people should not become owner operators this year. And the stock of trucks is going to increase at lower prices. Yeah, I think that the market, I think it's very, very, very slowly improving. After I did the market update and forecast, there was a dip in tender rejections. Then it went up and then it's dipping slightly again. Not as much as it did a couple of days ago. So that's good. Now volumes increased. I think the market is going to get better, but it's still not good enough to the point where everyone can survive. So as carriers start shutting down and getting smaller carriers shut down and get rid of their equipment, it's going to hit the used truck market. The prices, as those inventories build up, the prices are going to go lower. I don't know what is going to happen once April, May hits produce season. There might be an influx of trucks because everyone is hoping for that money-making opportunity. So that might happen. But they do say, you know, from everything that I've been reading, it says that we're going to finally experience seasonality. And if we're experiencing seasonality, that means that, sorry, see, I'm slow today. That means that rates will go up during the produce season, towards the end of the year, during the holiday season, et cetera, et cetera. So seasonality is good. In terms of getting into the market, if you are, so this is a question I get a lot. Is it a good time to get into the market? If you are working for yourself with your own MC and DOT number, if you have someone, a family member to dispatch you, you can still make money. I show it every single month, and I'll show you this month as well, even though this month has been a pain in the butt. You can make money if you're not delegating. So if you're a kind of a one-man show with a family member who's doing back office and dispatching, yeah, you can make $10,000, $12,000. My teeth are so white. What kind of toothpaste do I use? I don't know. I don't know. What do I use? Crest. Thank you. Let's see. How to onboard drivers. So I do have a video about that. There are a bunch of steps you have to follow. There are things that are required by the FMCSA. You have to have a very specific driver application. send that to them, get their medical and CDL, get them to sign the uh, paper saying that you can do a background check. You have to do the clearinghouse as well, do the background check. And yeah, but I do have a video on that. What's up, guys? Do you use a home office or do you have an actual office space? I use the home office. I don't see the point. We're not a huge company. We're a small carrier. So I don't see the point of paying rent when I can just work from home. Is it hard sometimes? Yes, because the kitchen is right around the corner and I'm always hungry. you know. I want to be a trucker. How is the situation to buy or lease a truck or buy a used truck? Used truck prices are going down. New truck prices are continuing to increase ever so slightly. For those of you that do not know, we just a week ago, I placed an order for 2 new Freightliners. And they increased in price very slightly, but they did since the last time we placed orders, which was over a year ago. So that's how that is going. In terms of leasing a truck, I'm not a big fan of leasing a truck. Financing, you can finance if you find a good, the only thing is, of course, interest rates. My favorite, we're refinancing one of our trucks right now with Crossroads because it's financed through BMO and BMO has a pretty high interest rate, a pretty high interest rate. So we're refinancing with Crossroads. The question is, what I don't know is whether Crossroads is available everywhere. I know they're available through Velocity Truck Centers in California. Any advice on setting up QuickBooks and doing bookkeeping for a small trucking company? Yeah, so QuickBooks, I'll be honest with you, QuickBooks I use mostly for invoicing. For bookkeeping and everyday kind of just checking everything, what I do is I use Airtable. Airtable really helps. I put all the expenses there, investments, income, everything, and I check it every day. And every single day, I check it against our bank accounts. So that's how I do my bookkeeping. In terms of actual accounting, again, not my strong suit. My CPA has his work cut out for him. If my wife came to California, would you personally train her how you run your system? Unfortunately, due to time constraints, again, I have 2 trucking companies that I'm running, and it's a lot of work. So because of those time constraints, I'm not able to do one-on-one mentoring at this time. Louise, thank you. Junior, is your course updated? Yeah, absolutely. Both of the courses. The carrier course I released in the end of December. They're both updated. They're kind of, well, the carrier course, not so much. If there's a huge change in the FMCSA rules and regulations, I will update it. But there was no such change. Everything is updated there. Brian, what are your steps to handle a breakdown? Number 1, I get a call. Number 2, I cry. Number 3, I run into the wall and rip my hair. I'm just kidding. Breakdown, we don't have, the one thing that we're kind of not really good at as a company is we don't have a dedicated place to repair our trucks. Wherever the truck breaks down, I start looking around to see who can help out. If the truck can move, wonderful. I send it to a place. Usually I try to go for smaller repair shops, not a place like Love's or TA, because Love's and TA, especially lately, they have been horrible. But yeah, try to find a small repair shop and send the truck there. If it's a breakdown where the truck cannot move, it's all about finding either someone who's going to repair it on the side of the road or is going to tow it to a small place. Yeah, that part is kind of, we haven't figured out a better way yet. This is something I need to work on. Do I have a service that does my IFTA? How do I do Oregon? No, so I do not delegate anything. I do everything by myself. And that's why I say that if you want to get into this industry right now, if you're not delegating, if you're a one man or one woman show and have a family member who's doing dispatch or back office or whatnot, you can make some money. That's how I work. I don't delegate anything. I'm too, too much of a perfectionist. But I do my own IFTA. In terms of Oregon, that is quite a process. If you want to send me an email, talkabouttrucking@gmail.com, I'll tell you how to do the Oregon. Yeah, there are two ways. You can either get a temporary trip permit or you can get a permanent one. And then you have to put up, if you're getting a permanent one, you put up a $2,000 bond. You have to file your Oregon taxes every single month, depending on how many miles you ran in Oregon. If you did not run any miles in Oregon, you still have to file a return. And if after a year you have filed on time every time, that $2,000 bond is returned to you with interest. And by the way, ours is actually coming up. At the end of this month, I'm getting our $2,000 bond back for our baby company for Oregon. So that's exciting. um, Abhinav, how do you do pieces? Can you elaborate? Whoa, goodness, it skipped. Can you elaborate, please? I didn't fully understand the question. I do apologize. There we go. I'm making a career change to dispatcher. Can I do it while in Canada? If you're dispatching, you can do it from anywhere. I know I have heard of dispatchers dispatching from Europe, from Moldova, from different areas of the world. You can dispatch from pretty much anywhere. Absolutely. Bedros, Oregon is a headache. Yeah, it is the most frustrating state to get those trip permits from, or state permits. New Mexico, Kentucky is the easiest. New Mexico is extremely easy. New York, New York is a little bit more challenging, but Oregon, it's just time consuming. Yeah. Joselias, thank you. Hi. Hi, Jose. Junior, can I make a video about which trailer is better for team owner operators, which makes more money? Yeah, I can do some research. I had at one point from April to around July of 2022, my two business partners were driving in a team on a dry van, and they were making pretty good money. They were making pretty good money. Now, from what I see today, it looks like dry van teams, there are not as many of them as reefer teams. Ton of reefer team loads, especially from California. This is something that I've noticed, but I'll look into it. Absolutely. I stay out of Oregon or call ahead and purchase a trip temporary permit. Yeah, that's what I used to do, but now I have permanent permits for both of my companies. Hi, Montre. Mm. Do you guys like my cup? Isn't it cute? Makes me happy. This cup makes me happy. Tesfa Miriam, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Your dispatching course is recorded. Yes, it is pre-recorded, over 9 hours of video time. If you have any questions, email me, and I try to just say dispatching course in the subject line so that I know to address your question first. Yeah. Jason, do you find local regional loads are paying best now? Currently, from what I saw in Sonar, tweener loads, I hate that name, tweener loads that are between 450 to 800 miles long, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's what it is. Those are the loads that pay best. Long haul loads were the ones that paid worst. So yeah, that's what I found. Local loads were, I think, second worst. But I have to, you know what? I wonder, well, it's going to take me some time to double check. Email me. I'm going to send you that updated spreadsheet of which loads pay the best currently based on tender rejections. This is all based on tender rejections. Mhm. Alan, am I able to share your business plan with the team? I would absolutely love to. Someone emailed me about this a couple of weeks ago, and I was embarrassed to say that I have no business plan. I never wrote a business plan for either of my companies. Yeah. But you know what? I can share with you. There is a website called Apex Capital. I'm going to put it um, in the chat right now, where they have a free white paper on how to write a truck company specific business plan. So let me get that for you right now. Is it this one? Yeah, cool. So I'm going to paste it into the chat. There you go, you guys. Business plan. It's a lot of carriers taking low rates for no reason. Well, I can't agree with you that it's for no reason. The market is really, really bad. The amount of loads I took that paid less than $2 per mile in February was more than ever in my almost 4 years of experience in this industry. Yeah, the market is just, it's horrific. What really shocked me, and I said this in the market update and forecast, is that the Midwest, Midwest, one of the places I rely on, it's horrible. It's really hard to find a good load. It's not just about Midwest to Midwest loads anymore. It's just trying to find a good load is pretty difficult. What I have realized is that, like right now, one of my guys is in Louisiana, and from there, the rates are more or less okay. But Midwest is pretty interesting. Hopefully it improves soon. It will. Thank you, Patrick. Hi, C. James, you self-dispatch? Yeah, it's a good way to cut those expenses in the current market. Yeah, I think delegating right now, I get a lot of emails about people asking whether it's a possibility to make the whole trucking company a form of passive income. And I really, passive income, no. There is a way to make money. Again, there is a way to make money if you're kind of doing everything yourself, not delegating. But if you're delegating everything, or if you're hiring a driver, yeah, it's either going to be no income, you're going to break even, or very little. Yeah. Any recommendations on a good factoring company? I love RTS. We have our fuel card from them and we factor through them. RTS. I used to run DAT with a box truck. It's a pain to do. Yeah, it's a lot, especially if you're driving and you are, I think that's what you mean. If you're driving and you're dispatching yourself and you're doing the back office, it's a lot of work. So if you have a family member or a friend who's willing to do the back office and dispatch you, that would be nice. How many trucks should a new startup carrier start with? Well, I would say start with one. If you're new to this industry, start with one. And Eric, tell me, are you looking to hire a driver or are you looking to drive yourself? Oh, sorry, it skipped. Now it's all about finding that place. What type of trailer are you using right now? Right now, we have dry vans and reefers, although we are looking to potentially go back to the flatbed around April, May. once the weather becomes better. By the way, the weather has been horrid. I'm in Southern California. It was snowing yesterday. I mean, it was really nice, but it was snow and hailing. It's crazy. The Virginia market is horrible. I have not had any of my guys in Virginia recently. Do you lease on trucks from different states? Jamel, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. We do not lease on currently because we as a company, or two companies, we're based in Southern California, and California has this wonderful AB5 law, so I am not able to lease on any independent contractors. So yeah, but in terms of hiring drivers as company drivers, yeah, from anywhere in the US. Mhm. First time live. Sam, welcome. Business credit, how to build credit. From my experience, it's all about financing. The way we built business credit, I don't know, many of you guys probably know this already. When we were starting, we purchased everything outright because our whole idea was, okay, we have the capital, we can purchase the truck, we can purchase the trailer, we won't have to pay interest. And then when we realized that we have no business credit, we had to build it. And what we did, it was really difficult to find a good, good terms, right? Because we had no prior business credit. So what we did for two trucks, we put down huge down payments, and the remainder, which was around $12,000 for each truck, is what we financed. And that's how we started building our business credit. And now we're just financing pretty much. Let's see, we have two new trucks that are financed, that are coming, that will be financed, two existing new trucks that are financed, and two trailers that are financed and one that is rented. Yeah, so those are our finance things. And every time you finance, every 6 months to a year, the interest rates go down, which is awesome. And yes, get a DUNS, exactly. Yeah, get a DUNS number. We need to strike for a good rate. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I just don't know how that would happen. How do you get enough people together? How do you get enough people together to actually make a big difference? There is a way, I'm sure. But yeah, what we need to do is we need to get brokers worried that they cannot find any trucks to move their loads. Did you start as a dispatcher before establishing your authority? No, I started off by building the trucking company. I had no experience, Omar, at all in the trucking industry. I used to be a fashion recruiter. So I was in the fashion industry. And then I had to learn. I had to learn how to manage a company, as well as dispatch, as well as remain in compliance. And it was all kind of trial and error. Am I working with dedicated lanes? No, I do not work dedicated, unfortunately. I work off the spot market. Yeah. Oh, something happened to the chat. Tony, would I ever consider expanding to Alaska? I have never thought about it. I saw days ago, I saw a load to Alaska. I don't remember where my guy was, but I saw a load to Alaska, which was paying really, really well. That's all I know about it. Yeah. I have never really thought about expanding to Alaska or even getting I think you have to have some, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think you have to have some different type of, or some add-on to your authority to be able to go to Alaska. Am I correct? That's something that I'm not very familiar with. Joselle, yes, I'm thinking about putting my wife to her CDL. She works with me and she takes care of the paperwork and the dispatching. What do you think so currently, so what is your structure like currently? Are you, you have a CDL and she dispatches you and does the back office and you're looking to get her a CDL too? I just financed with Crossroads as well. There is a penalty for paying off the truck early. I watched your video on financing. Um, with Ricardo, that is a great question. I paying the truck or so I need to look at the terms again. I think there's a prepayment penalty for a period of time from what I remember. Mhm. Hi, I'm leasing with Prime. We depend on the contract market. Contract and spot markets are interdependent. So, what usually happens is that a contract, so that's why I talk about tender rejection rates so much. A contract carrier, when they reject a contract load, and several contract carriers reject it, what ends up happening is that load ends up trickling down to the spot market, right? Thereby increasing the volume on the spot market. So the correlation there is that the higher the tender rejection rate, the higher the rates on the spot market. And the spot market is what dictates the direction of contract rates. So currently, because the spot market is so low in terms of rates, there is a downward pressure on contract rates, although they are still higher. So if spot rates are going down, contract rates will follow. If spot rates are going up, contract rates will follow. Stephen, do I have any experience with MHC? And there, I do not have experience with them. William, do I intend to do my class by Zoom? I do not see all the courses that I have there pre-recorded, and the only reason is because of my lack of time. I'm not able to do a Zoom. It takes a lot of time and I have to be focused. But in reality, the reason I do these lives on Sundays is because the likelihood of getting a phone call regarding something is pretty low compared to the week. So usually my day is filled with phone call after phone call, problem after problem after problem. So that's why they're pre-recorded courses. I just do not have the time capability at the moment. Luis, yeah, the market is tight. Thank you. Abos, you're dispatching in Uzbekistan. There we go, Uzbekistan. When am I going to start dispatching? Tony, so currently I dispatch my own fleet only, and again, this time constraints. But I'm working on a really, really cool project. Again, like I said, I just need to learn the coding, which I will. I'll find a way. I learn everything. If I need to learn something, I'll learn it. A really cool project where basically it's to connect all of you guys. It's like a social network website, but only for carriers, drivers, dispatchers, and owner operators, no brokers. What do I think about tankers? Unfortunately, I do not know enough about tankers. I believe they pay better, but that's pretty much it. I do not know that side of the business. How to get loads if you're a new authority. So recently I heard that Convoy, which was always my go-to, because they took new authorities, they are now requesting 3 months or something like that. Uber still works with new authorities from what I remember, and TQL is a big one. TQL has loads everywhere. So start with TQL, work with some smaller brokers. Now, how do you find smaller brokers? It's just trial and error. There are certain brokers that are huge. Smaller brokers build up a reference list. And then when you come across a broker who requires, not new authority, 3 months, whatever of authority, try to push that reference list on them. But it's mostly going to be for the first 3 months, TQL and smaller brokers and Uber Freight. Yeah. It is possible. It is possible to work as a new authority. It's just more of a trial and error. Yeah, you can't work with everyone right away, but just build up a reputation. Very, very important. Getting a CDL license as a 24-year-old worth it? Yes. Get a CDL license because the worst case scenario, even if you don't use it right away, it ages. And that makes getting insurance much easier. If you do decide to open your own trucking company and you'll need that insurance, makes it much easier. Get that CDL license. JG, thank you so much. Is Denver good now? I'm heading there now. So Denver, I have not been in Denver. I haven't had any trucks in Denver for a while. From my experience, the rates are always so. What kind of equipment type do you have? I'll take a look. Fixed fleet roadside assistance. So I used to use fixed fleet. And then one time, I'm the kind of person in this industry, I try not to give second chances. They kind of messed up or screwed me over. So after that, I don't use them. Yeah. But Fix, it has saved our butt a few times. How do you estimate what the brokers are charging the shippers? That is a great question. But so you guys know, I just had a comment about a week ago where I wrote a huge paragraph. It's under the our brokers price gouging video. What is happening right now to brokers is that you have to understand, because the market was so good in 2021, it's not just carriers who came into the market, it's also brokers, a ton of new brokers. So right now, the competition between brokers is really, really high. And with the reduced volume, there's not much to transport yet. A lot of brokers need those loads, right, to make money. So what ends up happening is to get that shipper or that customer or that lane, they start outbidding each other. Who can place the lowest bid? And that is partially why the rates are so bad on the load board, if that makes sense. They're just bidding very, very low just to get that customer. And then they're selling that load to a carrier for even lower because they want to pocket something as well. It's oversaturated. This market is really, really oversaturated. My chat skipped. Let's see, where was I? Stephen, my wife has no experience with dispatching. Will your course walk her through all the way? Yeah, the course teaches you the basics of dispatching, negotiation tools for when the market is better, seasonality, and it gives you tools on, just managing the whole load booking process. But yes, it will. Daniel, why Northeast Florida, Northwest, and Colorado are so bad to get good rate coming out? Florida becomes more or less manageable when watermelons start being shipped there. Thank you guys. Who was it? Thank you for the $5. I'm sorry, I cannot see. My chat is so weird, but thank you. I really appreciate She ate it. I do. Florida gets better when the watermelons start growing and getting shipped. In terms of the Northwest, it will get better during produce season because a ton of stuff comes out of Washington, especially Pasco, Yakima. Excuse me if I'm mispronouncing it. So those are the places that it gets better. Colorado, from what I know, there's a lot of beer in Colorado. But right now, I haven't had anyone in Denver or around Denver, Colorado in a while, so I'm not sure what is going on there. The weather is bad, that I can tell you. Du- 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 du. Phil, what do you think about less than truckload in a van with a lift gate? I make this decent money now. Mhm. To jump semi for a better call. So less than truckload in a van with a lift gate is pretty specific. I don't really have experience with that. I do see some loads posted where they require only vans with a lift gate, but it's pretty rare. So unfortunately, I don't have much experience with that specific equipment type. Junior, I watched your videos and I did not see anything about Alaska or Canada. You do not like that area. It's not about whether I like it or not. I just don't have experience in it. So I try to teach as much as possible. Excuse me. I try to teach as much as possible from experience so that I know that what I'm saying is actually true. Alaska and Canada, I do not have experience there. Alaska is actually beautiful. I've been there. It's gorgeous. Canada, I've never been there, but I hear it's gorgeous. Recently, I came across how the reefer for medicine industry is great for business. Any information on what type of brokers I can deal with as an owner operator? Do you mean that reefers transport medicine? Yes, and medicine loads usually pay a little bit higher than regular loads. You want to do power only, but okay. In terms of power only, I don't really have experience there. I hear horror stories right now. It's pretty hard to get good rates, but I know that during the holidays, power only is an interesting choice if you're working with Amazon Relay. I have heard that people make a killing. Um, for reefer, it's a pretty versatile trailer. One of the best ways to make money with a reefer, especially in the summer, is transporting ice cream. Because one of the things that I was surprised to learn, not all reefers have the capability of maintaining negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit, or they're just too old to actually maintain that temperature. So those ice cream loads in the summer, especially in August, those are paying really well. But I do know that medicine loads pay well as well, and they're very light. The medicine loads are super light. I need a dispatcher. What do you, owner operator, hazmat endorsement? So hazmat, I don't have anyone with a hazmat endorsement in my two companies, but hazmat loads usually pay higher. So if you have a hazmat endorsement, it would be you probably would be paid higher if you're an owner operator. Mm, yeah, I'm not very familiar with hazmat, the process. I know that the insurance is higher if you're a carrier, if you have your own MC number, but the loads do pay higher. I would like to see an analysis on the intermodal market. Yeah, I've been getting that request a lot, trying to keep up with everything, but I will do research on it. I will do research on it, but personally, I don't have experience with the intermodal market. But it's an interesting thing to see for sure. Landon, is there any reason to worry about the market going forward? Do you see your operations able to sustain the current trends or maybe getting a little bit worse? Yeah, I can see our operations sustaining. Our business model is pretty, I mean, again, I don't delegate anything. Our expenses are cut as much as possible. So this is partially the reason we're not doing as bad as some of the other smaller carriers. Do I have any reason to worry about the market going forward? My only worry is that I know that seasonality from everything, and I rely on data, right? I don't, I can't predict the future, unfortunately, but I do rely on data, and a lot of the time the data is correct. So from what I understand, the seasonality will push up those spot rates. What I'm worried about is that once those spot rates do start going up because of the produce season, a ton of thank you, whoever sent $10. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry, for some reason my chat doesn't show your name, but it does show me your picture. Thank you so much. But yeah, my worry is that people will start seeing that, hey, spot rates, because you have to understand there are a lot of carriers or owner operator or one truck fleets that have parked their trucks for the time being. So what my worry is once the rates start going up, everyone who parked their truck, didn't sell their truck, is going to rush into the market to get a piece of that pie. And therefore, again, the capacity will exceed the volume. This is my only fear. But in general, you have to understand the market is really, really bad. And a lot of smaller carriers, they're getting pushed out. And a lot of people are leaving this industry completely. It's not like they're switching from being, a carrier to working as a company driver for a bigger carrier. A lot of people are leaving this industry completely. So it is driving people out. We really need that capacity to decrease or for the volume to increase. Passive income and trucking don't go together. I agree with that. Do you have recommendations for finding a CPA that specializes in trucking? Unfortunately, I do not. My CPA has been working for the family forever, so that's how I found him. He doesn't specialize in trucking. He's amazing. Do you happen to know anything about how common it may be to use a reefer trailer for both reefer and dry van loads? Do people do this strategically? So that is an excellent question. No clever name. Not all dry van loads, not all dry loads can fit on a reefer. And this is because, number one, the weight of the reefer unit makes the trailer heavier. So you cannot scale as much as a dry van. Number two, the space within the trailer, because the reefer is insulated to keep that temperature, it's smaller than in a dry van. So not all dry van loads can go on a reefer. But sometimes you will see, very often actually, on, for example, the load board, you will see VR, which means this load can go either on a van or a reefer. Mm-hmm. Curious the percentage of loads you factor, and have you ever had to repay a factoring company due to non-payment from the broker or shipper? Thankfully, we never had to repay a factoring company, but in terms of percentage of the loads we factor, I mean, I haven't factored in, I think, 3 weeks now. It just depends. It just depends. I like to see a certain amount in my account, in the bank accounts, operating accounts. So I will factor to keep that number up because so many brokers are late and expenses keep going. I will factor to make up that amount. Mm-hmm. I mainly run Echo and TQL, payout within a few hours for the most part. Interesting. So TQL, you do quick pay? TQL is usually 28 days, 21 days, I don't remember. Echo is great. I really like Echo. TQL is also good. It's good because of the amount of loads they have in terms of the fact that they're, what did I call, TQL stands for the queens of lowballing. that's how I refer to them, but Echo is pretty good. Snowing and hailing, what the hell? Yeah, I was shocked as well. It was hailing in Southern California and snowing. It was snowing, I mean, closer to the mountainous areas, but it was snowing. A day you're looking to get into. Oh, you've been in the industry in and out for 10 years. Oh, what happened? Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Cordoy. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Manuel. I found your names finally because my chat skipped and went to the bottom and I finally see. Let's see, where was I? Do you think that part of the reason freight rates are low is because of the companies that hire foreign B1 visa drivers and pay them much less than CDL drivers? No. I think the rates are so low is because volume decreased and the amount of carriers increased. Carriers and trucking companies. Mhm. Am I married? Yes, I am. Look at her hand, bro. Yeah. Do I offer mentoring or tutoring? I'm writing my trucking business plan. I do not offer one-on-one mentoring or tutoring due to time constraints, but you can always send me an email if you have a specific question. Send me an email. I'll get back to you. We need to refuse all loads that are not paying. I have been doing that. They were everywhere closed. Yep. Yeah, no, 100 brokers can't move cargo without trucks. Yeah. I love the brokers lately. I have to say, I am in shock. Just yesterday, let me tell you a story. Yesterday, I had my guy stuck in Louisiana and I got him a load for today. So yesterday I was trying to book a load and there was one guy who I needed 1,400 on the load. And he kept telling me he's like 1,200. Okay, 1,300 is my max. So I told him, no, I'm not going to take it for 1,300. I thought that I was going to book a better load. So about 3 hours pass by and I tell him, I'm like, listen, if you have this load available, I'll do 1,300. I needed to move my truck. To which he replies, no, now I'm going to do 1,200. No kidding. I mean, brokers, yeah, those kind of brokers, I mean, when there's no mutual respect, it's done. For me, it's done. Respect plays a very, very big factor. It's not just about rates, it's the respect. I've had brokers drunk. I said that in my last live. Had brokers drunk. I have had brokers swear at me for asking a question. I have had brokers ghost me for asking what the rate is. I mean, come on. This is a business. I'm starting. Gamar Joba Papa X. Rogoraja. I think I said that correct. Please tell me I said that correct. If you get $2 per mile, now you're a miracle maker. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I'm not gonna, with Deadhead, $2 per mile can be hard. For sure. Again, the amount of $1.80, $1.90, $1.40 loads. I mean, there were not a lot of them, but there were a couple that I booked this month. was ridiculous. Yeah. February is always slow. Something I want to keep reminding you guys. February is always slow, no matter whether it's a good year or a bad year, it's always slow. But just this February, it's like the cherry on top of a very, very bad cake called the 2022 trucking market. It will get better. I it's not listen, the data gives me hope that it will get better. The fact that seasonality is coming back gives me hope it will get better. And the fact that it's so bad right now, as horrible as it sounds, it is driving capacity out. The only concern I have is those parked trucks that can be pushed into the market right away. That's my concern. Uh, How many trucks until you start hiring dispatcher help? Do you mean in general? How many trucks do you have to have before you? I mean, it depends on the person, or are you asking me how many trucks do we need in our fleet before we start expanding our dispatching team? Also, what dictates the spot market is driver accepting low rates. If a few drivers pull cheap freight, yeah, wet Willie, 100%. You have to understand, brokers have a bidding war going on their end, right? Everyone's trying to get that one load from the shipper who has only one load, and 20 brokers are trying to get that one load. So they're trying to outbid each other. And then they go to the market and they put that load on a load board, and there are 100 carriers for one load trying to outbid each other. Yeah, again, it's oversaturated. We need that capacity to start leaving, or volumes to start increasing, which they will with produce season. And from what I hear, for flatbeds, uh, this is something I heard, I didn't research it. The US government invested a ton of money into infrastructure, and flatbeds are going to be transporting that. So who knows? Who knows? Volumes might start going up. And the industrial production, the manufacturing sector is doing more or less okay. How do you find your online courses? You go to my website, truckingmadesuccessful.com, and then there is the dispatching course or the carrier course. Do you have any opinion about rebrokers? What do you mean, like double brokers? Because I do have an opinion about that, for sure. TQL is the worst. They lowball so much. Yeah, they do lowball. What helps us with TQL sometimes is our reputation. We hauled so many loads with TQL, and the reputation sometimes helps. Boss, you got your flatbed. So far, it's good. Yay! Is it difficult to open a new brokerage? I am not familiar with the process of opening a brokerage just because I've never been a broker. Or do you mean dispatcher? Because brokerage, you have to have that bond, that 75K. There's a bunch of stuff. You have to have an MC, a DOT number as well, which is very similar to what a carrier needs to have, but I'm not very familiar with brokerages. Can you tell me a little bit more about factoring with RTS? How does it work if you take a load for a carrier that doesn't factor with them? So they have a website. Let me see. Let me see if I can show you the app. Do I have RTS on my phone? Yes, I do. um, what happened? So basically on the website, When you're booking a load, you can check the broker through the RTS website and see if RTS factors with them. If you move a load with a broker that RTS does not work with, of course, you'll have to wait for the standard pay. But in general, RTS pays within 1 to 2 days max, depending on when you upload your invoice. Yeah, my app doesn't work for some reason. I don't know what happened. I need to update it. I do everything on my computer. Do, 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 do. I have a CDL half a year, live in California. How much will be half year cost for insurance or of MC? It's a case by case basis. I cannot give you a quote per se. It's a case by case basis. Yeah, so you have a CDL for half a year, live in California. Yeah, it won't be very cheap, I can tell you that, but it's a case by case basis. It depends not just on the insurance provider, it depends on who you use as an agent. What is better, find a truck, start working on new MC, or while working under different MC, preparing MC? If you have no experience at all in this industry, I always recommend starting step by step so you learn the basics, right? But in terms of where will you make more money, of course, if you have your own MC and you're working under yourself, as long as you're not delegating. I know it's horrible. Don't delegate is horrible. I mean, any business person has to delegate to stay sane. But in this case, if you do not delegate, you can make a decent amount. Mhm. Jamel, yeah, I do not lease on trucks. I think I answered your questions. I do not lease on trucks because of the AB5 law, because we're based in California. But in terms of hiring, yeah, absolutely. I hire from all sorts of different states. Mm, great. Love it when it skips. uh, Do you believe brokers should be transparent and or have a cap from each load? No. I mean, transparency, yes, maybe. Cap, no. Because I know I'm going to get a ton of hate for this, but this is a free market. If brokers, if the government, whatnot, starts dictating how much a broker can make, what will end up happening is when the time is good for carriers, they can also dictate how much carriers can make. It's a free market. That's one of the best things about this industry and about this country is free market. It's very important. If you ever lived in a different country where there's no such thing as free market, you'll know what I'm talking about. Oops. As a new authority, how do I determine my cost per mile? So on my website, if you go to truckingmadesuccessful.com, go to free tools, and under that, there will be a cost per mile calculator, and that will help you determine your cost per mile. Thank you, Joselius. Peace. uh, you're looking, so greetings, Brenda. You're looking for a recommendation on a drug and alcohol consortium. I use DISA. DISA is amazing. Sorry, I had something fell off. DISA, DISA is amazing. DISA works. Yeah, they're pretty great. Do you contract Europe sticker? Freighty? Can you, oh, do I mean to say if you contract European trucker? I do not contract because of the AB5 law. What do you mean European trucker? Why do we have to rely on brokers and not straight with shippers? There should be a load board straight with shippers. Yeah, I agree. That would be amazing. But the thing is, shippers, they have so much stuff. Why are brokers a thing? Because shippers have so much to do, they do not have time to sit and look for carriers. Because when a broker is looking for a carrier, they're not just looking on the load board and negotiating, etc. They're same thing as what a carrier does. They also have to do the CSA score checks, background checks, every insurance checks. Yeah, so the shipper doesn't have time for that. Although I have worked with some direct shippers from the DAT load board just by accident. I didn't know that they're direct shippers. So sometimes you can come across a direct shipper, but usually it's so funny. Direct shippers, they're not as well versed at the setup process or stuff like that as a broker would be. So it's pretty easy to determine right away whether it's a direct shipper or a broker. They're so cute, but they pay very, very well compared to brokers, of course. um, how to get medical loads. Again, Ruth, I work off the stock market, so it's all chance. I do not work with any direct shippers. So if I see a medical load, I try to grab it because it does pay better. Mhm. There's a classification on hazmat. It depends also. Yeah, absolutely. I actually found out recently, I don't know if I mentioned this, that there are certain loads that will be considered, I think it's class 9 hazmat. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. That does not require hazmat certification, but in the paperwork it says it's hazmat, something like that. I remember that load gave me a heart attack because the broker is like, it's a non-hazmat load. And then on the paperwork, on the bills of lading, it says hazmat, hazmat, hazmat. I was like, what is going on? And then they explained it's a class 9. I think it's called the class 9. I'm not, don't quote me on that. But it paid really well. The clerk. I'm so glad you're enjoying it. Michael, can you purchase the course to learn a year from now? Absolutely. I'm not planning to take it down. So whenever, wherever. Gabriel, I'm a company driver trying to start my trucking company in the near future, debating if I should get equipment first or start a dispatching company first. So I mean, that is a good question. Again, I'll repeat myself. If you are, excuse me, if you are driving for yourself and not delegating, you're gonna obviously make a ton more money with your own trucking company. Mhm. How long do new authorities need to keep at Uber or other before start to get a load board? Junior, you do not need, I would get a load board regardless. I would get a load board regardless because you have to remember that all brokers pretty much that have a load will post on the load board. And there are a ton of smaller brokers. Unfortunately, how do you tell if it's a small broker? trial and error, but there are a lot of smaller brokers who will work with authorities. If you do not get a load board and stick to Uber, you're not going to be able to move that a ton of loads. TQL maybe. Although TQL, even though they do work with new authorities, if you have a reefer, for example, and they have an ice cream load, they will not give you that ice cream load until you have moved a certain number of loads with them. But on the load board, you will find a broker who is smaller, perhaps, who is not as picky. Mhm. General trucker, how are the reefer loads? I have not seen any improve. A few days ago, one of my guys was in California and I was shocked. I mean, I knew California was bad, but I was beyond shocked to see how bad. Loads to Florida were paying $1.60 for a reefer from California to Florida, $1.60. And those loads were being like soaked up within seconds of coming out. It's bad in California. In terms of everywhere else, I mean, right now I have one guy who just started moving from, it was Idaho to, I think he's going to Wisconsin or Minnesota. I don't remember. He's going somewhere in the Midwest. And that load paid more or less decent with deadhead at like $2.24 per mile. Yeah, so there are some good areas, some bad areas. The only thing I can recommend is stay away from the West Coast in general. California has bad rates. Idaho has more or less decent rates, but getting out of Idaho means you're going to get stuck on the I-80 for 3 days. Yeah. Blaster, please do your let's go. Ready? Let's go. What would be best to start off with, a reefer trailer or a dry van? I think in terms of to minimize your liability risk, dry van. Reefer, you have to also depend, no matter how good you are at what you do, you have to depend on that reefer unit not to break down. So I would start with, if this is even a question, I would say in terms of minimizing your liability risk, dry van. But reefer will pay more. Can you add owner operators to run under your authority if I don't own a truck? Yes, there are a lot of carriers that have that kind of business model. They do not have their own fleet, and their business model is just adding trucks by leasing on owner operators. And that is why the AB5 law is such a big, or partially why it's such a big issue, because a lot of carriers now are forced to either get their own fleet, move out of the state, or whatnot. Yeah, but a lot of carriers have that business model. You can absolutely do that. When you purchase a trailer, do they usually want a down payment? Do you mean finance? With our reefer trailer that we purchased, we did a cash payment. Yeah, they did want a down payment. With finance, of course, they also want a down payment. How many units do you have? Oh my God, it skipped. Okay, I remember your question. How many units do you have? We had 5, we sold 1, we added another 2. So now we have 4 plus 2 coming. But one of them is going to replace an older equipment. So we're keeping at 5 at the moment. Do I have a brokerage? I do not have a brokerage. Falcon, thank you. Thank you, Mark the mailman. Thank you, Final Out. Oh, you guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Frady, I'm not sure what you mean. Do I contract Europe trucker? What do you mean? Would renting a box truck and going OTR make any sense in 2023? SkyStaff, unfortunately, I'm not very familiar with box trucks. I know that there is, at least on the DAT, I do not see a lot of volume for box trucks. The rates are, of course, lower than for a 53 footer. Thank you so much. Hold on, I'll find you a day. Thank you. Yes, the rates are lower for a box truck, but I know that the expenses are lower too. So I'm not very familiar with the box truck side of things. So I would not be the best person to ask, unfortunately. T, how do you negotiate with a broker? Be a good negotiator for best rates. Do you have any course on it or are you planning to make one? In my dispatching course, I have a whole negotiation section. Um, the way you negotiate with a broker depends on your situation, where you are, what kind of equipment you have, and the daily situation that you're in. So, for example, if you, like 2 weeks ago, my negotiation tactic was the proximity of my truck to the facility where the shipper. Sometimes, if it's like an ice cream load, I mean, right now it doesn't work as much because it's freezing outside in like Wyoming and all of that stuff. But when it's warm, if it's an ice cream load, your negotiation is the fact that your reefer is going to be working double. It's going to cost you a ton of money. So you need a higher rate. It just depends on the situation. Mm. Marcus, so question, if you suspect a load has been double brokered, should you go to the original broker to ask if it's co-brokered or double brokered? If you suspect the load is being double brokered, call the original broker and ask. That's what, so something, you guys, I'm sure some of you have seen the video where we got scammed with the double brokered load, and I had to chase everyone related to that load to get paid. What I have started doing is when I get a call on my posted truck, I will call them back using the Safer website just to make sure that this is an actual load from an actual broker and not someone pretending to be the broker and pretending to have the load that they will not pay us for. But yeah, I would always recommend calling the original broker and double checking with them. A lot of that is happening now. A lot of people are starting to steal brokers' carrier packets and information and rate confirmation, like templates and everything, and presenting it to carriers as if they're the broker. And then the carrier never gets paid. Tony, you just got a dry van and a truck. Congratulations. What best load board for dry vans? DAT. What what kind of canine companion do you recommend uh for a driver? You mean bulldog? You mean dog, right? Bulldog? Because they're lazy and they will sleep all the time. Thank you, Lorena. Lorena. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing. Thank you so much. um, Tony, am I from Ukraine? Yep. I was born in Mariupol, which actually doesn't really exist anymore. It's horrible. I should not be laughing. I laugh a ton when I'm nervous. Clearly. Yeah, Mariupol, don't get me started. mm, Miranda, do you start your sales pitch off when calling a broker? When calling a broker, I keep kind of a monotone voice lately, and I just ask them, hey, wanted more details on this load. Yeah. I do not go out of my way to be overly friendly with brokers anymore. Sometimes I will. If I know the broker, if I've worked with them a couple of times, then yeah, but brokers are, it's just the way they treat carriers lately and their behavior, it really, really makes me mad. So yeah, I don't go out of my way to be super nice. And I just ask, hey, just wanted more info on this load. February has always been a bad time. Absolutely. Thank you, Jay Junior TV. I really appreciate it. Now let me see, where is my place? There we go. No, that's not it. Where was I? Um, what are my thoughts on the flatbed market? So the flatbed market, in terms of tender rejection, flatbeds get paid better than any other equipment type when we're looking at reefers, dry vans, and flatbeds. The tender rejection rates are way higher for flatbeds than for reefers or dry vans. So flatbeds are doing better than the other two. The reason, I'll tell you why, one of the reasons we're not going back to flatbed yet is because it's not as efficient for us, right? The weather does not allow for many loads that do not require some sort of tarping. And with a dry van, it's more efficient. Yeah, the rate per mile, I always try to get the best rate per mile possible. Maybe it's not $3 per mile, but I try to get a good rate per mile. And it's more efficient, it's quicker. With tarping and everything, yeah, flatbed appointment times are first come, first serve usually. And it's very, very fast, but the whole tarping and chaining and strapping and all of that, we don't have enough experience with that in our companies to do that very efficiently. So a dry van is a little bit more efficient at the moment. When the weather gets better, that's a different story. Sheldon, hi. Have you ever thought about car hauling market? I have never thought about it. I haven't even done a ton. I know of it, but I've never done a ton of research on the car hauling market. I know the insurance requirements are a little bit different there, or quite different. So I'm not sure. I don't even know there. I know that there is a specific load board for the car hauling haulers, but that's pretty much all I know. Oh, Tony, I'm sorry if I missed a question from you. Again, my chat, sometimes I don't see all questions. So it's not that and sometimes it skips as well. So I sometimes do skip questions by accident. And dakuyu, Bedros means thank you. Yes, there we go. Transparency means the shipper sees our rates too, and that means everyone's rates will go down. Transparency isn't good for anyone except the shipper. It's an interesting point, absolutely. You hear echo? Echoes. Oh. Hopefully it's not on my end because sometimes my technology hates me. So I hope that it's not something. Let me know, you guys, if you all hear me badly. Basically, if the sound is bad, let me know and I'll try to do something with it. Let's see if I can. Let's see. Great, it skipped again. One moment. So I'm going to do, I know we have quite a bit more a few questions more to do. I'm going to do another maybe 30 minutes. Yeah, so 2, 3:30, 6:30 Eastern. 6:30 Eastern is where I'll have to bounce because I have a ton of work still to do. But questions first. Yes, class 9 non-hazmat. See, I got it right. My memory is not failing me. What would be a good equipment to try to run, dry van or reefer? Uh, I ran both. Sorry, it skipped again. Dry van, so dry van is very efficient. Reefer, again, the loading and unloading times are really long. Although, because there's not a ton of volume, recently the loading and unloading times for reefers have been cut down. And this is because there's not a ton of loads. So that's good. But in terms of pay per mile, reefer pays higher. Mhm. Shippers don't want to deal with that. I'm guessing you're talking about finding carriers. Yeah, most shippers, they have so much on their plate. That's why they hire brokers to deal with the whole, finding, negotiating, etc. Uh, Tony, you see the questions. I can't find your questions. Hold on, let me see if I can. Oh, how much insurance do I pay for the dry van? It was over $3,000 per month. It's for our baby company. The reason is because my business partner in that company, his CDL is less than 2 years old. The company itself is less than 2 years old. And also we had 2 trucks under that company. One of them we just sold. So it should be, I'm just waiting for the new updated quote, and I'll include it in my monthly updates. In our original company, per truck, we pay $1,070 something for insurance. I hope I answered your question. um, G from Houston. Hi, you sent an email a while ago. You're a new freight broker. When did you send it? If you sent it over a week ago, that means I responded to, yeah, I think I'm a week behind or so. Send it to me again and I'll make sure to respond. I'm a little bit behind. I'm overwhelmed here. February. um, Is there any way that we can create an app where we cut the brokers and just straight from shippers to carriers? If you have the contacts, I suppose you could do that, absolutely. Convoy claims to be a website that connects you to direct shippers, although I see a ton of brokers there. I don't see a ton of shippers. Thank you to G. Thank you. I really appreciate it. But yeah, I guess you could create such an app that connects carriers directly to shippers. It's just about finding the contacts to add into that app. Let's see. Question 2. So J Junior. Okay, let me make sure I'm not, what are the requirements? There we go. J Junior. Sorry, I just got here. Want to ask if it's hard to get direct contacts from shippers. That is an excellent question. Unfortunately, I don't know. I have never tried, although I probably should, because direct shippers will pay more than brokers will right now. At least you don't have to give up that broker fee. But I unfortunately am not very familiar with that yet. Yet. That's a plan. It's a goal of mine to start looking into direct shippers. There we go, Wet Willie. Exactly. You need time. It is all about cold calling. Foot video, what about double brokers? What was your question? Unfortunately, I do not see your first question. What about double brokers? Double brokers are bad. That's my take on it. A double broker nearly cost us, or did cost us. I mean, a double broker cost us $1,500. Mm. So double brokers, no bueno. um, Calcip, thank you. Roses, roses, roses. Do I have any brokers I recommend? I enjoy working with Echo. I enjoy working with, who did I work with? Hold on, let me see. Just recently. Okay, so Armstrong. I love Armstrong Transportation. I really, really like them. Trinity is good. JB Hunt, low balls, although it's very convenient because you can bid on their system, but they do low ball, my gosh. Reliable transportation solutions are okay. I mean, a lot of brokers are pretty decent, but unfortunately, all brokers will pay less than we want them to right now because, again, supply and demand. But there are a few brokers that, to give the whole scope of brokers a really bad name. Yeah. Do you think it's better to park your truck in this market? No, depends, right? So if you're working for yourself and not delegating, you can still make money in this market. I'll show our February has been really, really tough for us too, but I'll show at the end of the month or beginning of March our performance for February. So you can see how much you could make if you were an owner operator, meaning that you have your own MC and you work for yourself and you don't really delegate, you don't have all of those expenses, and how much you can expect to make in that situation. So I'll release that video. Keep a lookout. What times do you find are the best to be on the load board? So very, very interesting question. Usually I will be on the load board at 8 o'clock, at 8 a.m. where my guy is. So if my guy is in Pennsylvania, it's 5 a.m. my time because I'm in California living in the past. So that's when I start. It also depends on the market. I learned a trick, and I mentioned this, in the Midwest, the rates are not really good right now, or not as good as they used to be. So I learned a trick. If you wait until after 12 local time, then that's when there's going to be a very small volume of loads because most of those loads were already picked off by the carriers who were grabbing them in the morning, but the remainder will be paying higher than those loads that were there in the morning. So that's a trick that I use. I have one of the advantages I think I have is that I have absolutely no problem sitting for hours and hours and hours in front of the load board. It's an advantage, but it's also, I mean, it's not that great because then, you know, I have to work until very late trying to get everything else done. James, so you're planning to buy your own truck after summer. If you get your MC number now, you will have to activate it. So activating it means getting insurance on file and VOC3 on file. However, you actually have a year. I mean, after 90 days, if you do not get those two things on file, your application will be dismissed. But if you do not get it on file after 1 year, then it will be permanently dismissed and you'll have to pay the $300 all over again. Yeah. Of course, Dave. Thank you for watching. You ran a low boy, never touched the load under 350 per mile. um, Easy travels. Can you make money just renting out trailers with no owner operators? I have never tried. I I probably am not the best person to ask. Maybe. I I am not sure, unfortunately. Have I ever tried to use a reefer trailer to take a dry van load? Is it possible? Yeah, absolutely. You can. So here's the thing. There's a misconception. Reefers, yes, they can haul dry loads and they can also haul refrigerated loads. However, not all dry loads will fit on a reefer because the reefer trailer is heavier because of that reefer unit. So you can scale less than a dry van. And the second reason is because the space within the reefer trailer is smaller because of that insulation. So not all dry van loads can go on a reefer. Have we hauled loads that can go on a dry van or reefer? Yeah, absolutely. I have even hauled a reefer load on a dry van once from Washington. It was a load of onions that required a reefer. There were no reefers there, so they agreed to load it on our dry van. As long they didn't put a seal, and they said just make sure to open the doors to just let the cold air in for the onions in the evening. I'm completely serious. It paid well. Anything is possible. Krishna, I'm a small carrier with 2 trucks. Don't know how do we survive in this market. Are your trucks operated by, did you hire company drivers to operate those trucks? Yeah, it's all about trying to minimize your expenses, get a good fuel card going, try to not pay third-party providers to do some services, try to learn to do it yourself, minimize those expenses, and also watch where you run, right? You have to remember that the Midwest and the South, lower fuel prices, that minimizes your expenses. By the way, rates from Texas for a dry van, horrible. It's really disappointing. Really, really disappointing. We'll be moving with current company, then buy a truck. No interest in trying to start in California. Yeah, you don't want to start. I mean, if you have a choice to not start in California, I recommend not starting in California. California is not business friendly at all. It's a crazy state. Abby, have I ever tried to get direct shippers? No, I have not yet. Not yet. What is IRP, IFTA? I'm going to pick up a straight truck in Texas later this week. So IRP is apportioned license plates, apportioned registration, which means that you can run with those license plates everywhere. And you pay a fee at you pay every year depending on your miles. IFTA is basically a fuel tax agreement, right? You have to pay taxes when you refuel, and basically when you refuel, the taxes that you pay are kind of going. You have to watch my video on IFTA, but this is something that you need if you're an interstate carrier. Yeah. What would be the best trailer type to start with for profits and securing regular loads? So if you're looking to, I mean, it depends. Reefer is more liability risk because of that reefer unit and that temperature, right? But you can make more money there. Flatbed, more liability, more risk because you have to secure the load, but you can make more money there. Dry van is not such a big risk. It's a little bit less money, not a little bit, it's less money. So, and securing regular loads, the highest volume right now is for dry vans. The The highest volume is for dry vans, but so are the rates are the lowest for dry vans. So it just depends on what you're looking for. Eric, if you start off with a dry van, do you have to start a new company if you want to add a reefer? No, not at all. Not at all. You add whatever you need to your existing company. Daryl Leva, a broker gave us a very bad freight guard report, and all brokers are refusing to work with us now. What do you advise? I know of Freight Guard. I don't have experience with Freight Guard. From what I understand, they won't even talk to you if you're a carrier. I mean, I don't know, guys. Do you have any advice? I don't. Unfortunately, here I don't have any advice because I don't have experience with that. I don't know even where you would start. Yeah. Connor, do I offer brokerage services? Oh, you mean dispatching? No, not yet. I dispatch my own fleet. Time constraints. Uh, Sam, very soon Netflix or another major network. Yeah, I don't think so. I think I'm too boring for Netflix. Uh, I don't have, I mean, I'm, would I accept? I don't know. I don't know if I would ever accept such an offer. Um, can I open different trucking companies with different DOTs in different states? I mean, you can. I opened two trucking companies with two different DOTs, two MC numbers in the same state. So, yes, you can. The reason I did it was because of insurance. One of my business partners did not have the necessary experience to join our OG company. So, we had to get him different insurance. Otherwise, we would have to get more expensive insurance for the OG company, which would apply to all trucks. So we opened a different company. Yeah, so that's why I have to. But absolutely, you can. DR, you have all the endorsements. How do I use that to my advantage to get good rates? Someone who has so many, I mean, is the availability to carry hazmat worth the cost of insurance? I see quite a few hazmat loads. I see quite a few needs tinker endorsement loads. So you have kind of a negotiation power there because not a ton of people have all of those endorsements. Thank you, Lorena. Hi, Armand. Tony, you're from Suman. Yeah. Ay. What is happening in Ukraine is just, oh, yikes. Anyway, I'm late, but if you don't have funds to survive, then your downfall is coming. I mean, it's very important to have a nice operating account. You have to have a safety cushion. How to get a contract with Walmart? Ruth, unfortunately, I do not know. I've never tried, but if anyone knows, Eduardo, yes, I'm from Ukraine. I'm not. I'm half Ukrainian, half Georgian. Thank you, Tony. Sorry. Dispatch a car, good money. 3 cars, what will you dispatch a car hauler? You have to use a different load board for that, right? I don't think DAT has any car hauling car hauling loads capabilities, if I'm not mistaken. J Junior TV, did I not answer your question? If I did not, can you repeat it, please? Uh, my goodness. One moment, it skipped. It hasn't been skipping as much today as usual, so that's good. Let's see, where was us? Did I just say where was us? Where was I? I'm in my own head. Okay, I see. No Echo. Oh, you don't like Echo? I like Echo. Echo Drive, their load board is pretty awesome. Oh, no Echo. Oh, sorry, no Echo as in you don't hear an echo. Geez. I told you guys in the beginning, I'm slow today. Clearly, I was not lying. Have I ever hauled intermodal? No, I have never hauled intermodal. Let's see, we have another 15 minutes, so let me go through these questions. When do you think rate is going to go up because of this? Yeah. Carlos, when do I think the rates will start going up? I think by the, I'm really hoping that towards the middle of March, meaning towards the middle of next month, we'll see some type of kind of upward trajectory. But more realistically, it's going to be towards the end of March, April, although it's funny, my personal experience with April, every single year, April is our worst month. I don't know what it is. But I do expect the rates to start changing course, going up, starting at the end of March, beginning of April. Yeah. Hi, SM from Indianapolis. Is insurance based on driver's CDL record mainly? It's based on a lot of things. I mean, yes, that's a big factor, is how long, I mean, how seasoned the CDL is. Another factor is what kind of loads are you hauling? Where are you hauling? Are you interstate or intrastate? You know, what kind of reefer, what kind of trailer do you have? All of those things will play a factor when looking at insurance, and also the age of your business. How did I get into the logistics business? I was thrown into it by my family. I was in the fashion industry, and my family had an idea to start a trucking company, and none of us knew anything about it. So I was thrown into it, and I had to learn how to swim. Sari, thank you so much. I'm half Ukrainian, half Georgian. Yes, this live will be recorded. Absolutely. I do not speak Ukrainian, unfortunately. I speak very broken Russian. Who funded your start into the logistics business? We started it with the family. We had startup capital, and that's how we began. VJ, I registered on the FMCSA for the Drug and Alcohol Consortium. Yes, you do need a consortium to join, a random testing program. I recommend DISA, D-I-S-A. Let's see. Is it still a good time to buy a truck? Banana. So, as I have been saying, if you are, the truck prices, used truck prices are going down. They're continuing to go down. Now, in terms of whether it's a good time to get into the industry, of course, the market is really, really difficult. But if you are doing everything yourself, you're driving for your own company, if you are either dispatching yourself or have a family member or a friend who's dispatching you, if you're not outsourcing things like compliance and everything, then yes, there is a way to make money in this industry even now. And again, I will share our performance numbers for February, which was really, really tough. I'll share our performance numbers for February, where you will see how much you can earn based on our numbers if you are working for yourself. Mhm. I'm sure you have been asked this before. How much impact will Tesla trucks have on the trucking industry? In the near future, not much. Tesla trucks, as much as I love Tesla and as much as I adore Elon Musk, Tesla trucks are not ready to, uh, we're not at the point yet because of the missing infrastructure where they will have a big effect. Right? For a Tesla truck to work, I have a video on the Tesla truck, by the way. For a Tesla truck to kind of start, what is the word I'm looking for? Okay, start having a big impact, we need that infrastructure so that we can charge that Tesla truck, right? But yeah, I recommend watching that video. It's a Tesla video. Hi, Min Kim. Does the dispatch course lock you out after a year? Yes, Stephen, it's a 1-year access. Josh Jones, reliable transportation canceled, load last minute. Oh wow. See, like me, I might like a certain broker and someone else might have a horrible experience with them. Yeah, I guess it depends on the actual broker within the company. I've had really good luck with Reliable, but Armstrong is one of my favorites. Alexi, thank you. I appreciate it. Philip, never give up. What is normal or a good lifespan hours for a reefer to buy? That is an excellent question. I became a duck. Email me. I'll do some research because one thing that I am not good at is anything technical related to trucks, trailers, or I'm an idiot when it comes to actual like things like that. My business partner is the one who is the professional. So I'll ask him and I'll get back to you. Just email me. Lee Radu. Yes, you can email me. talkabouttrucking@gmail.com. I was watching 99-cent dry van freight come off the board. Yikes. $3.50 a mile for 50 miles. Yeah. See, when you do those short loads, you have to keep in mind also the gross income you're making per day. Very important. Anyone have problems with the Carrier 411? They upload false information about carriers. I have heard such horrible things about Carrier 411. Yikes. Let's see. So we have about 8 minutes. Natalia, do I have a schedule of your YouTube, my YouTube live? So what I'm trying to do is every second Sunday, I'm going to try to do a live. So not next Sunday, but the Sunday after, same time, I'm going to do a live. That's my goal. Because I know there are a lot of questions. So, and it's fun. I really enjoy like reading the chat and being able to interact with you guys. It's awesome. Making videos is very lonely. Having a live, you get to actually interact. Let's see. When did you, thank you, Net. When did you think the market will come back up soon? I think that we'll see an uptick in rates around end of March, beginning of April. We need the weather to also get a little bit better, and we need produce season. It's very important, produce season. Trucking is for the long run, not a get rich quick industry. Yes, absolutely. This is one of the biggest mistakes carriers the newbies made in 2021. They thought that I'm just going to go into it. I'm going to make a ton of money and it's going to continue. And it's not like that. And what ended up happening is a lot of these new guys, they purchased trucks for an obscene amount of money because used trucks were selling for like $160,000, 140 to 160 used trucks. And these poor guys now have payments on that, and the rates went down. So yeah, it's definitely not a get quick industry. Get rich quick industry. PO, I use RTS. I really enjoy RTS. They have good discounts and they have an awesome dashboard as well. I use them for factoring too. Philip, again, email me and I'm going to ask my business partner because he's the one who understands like all the technical things. I'm not the best person to ask. So Philip, email me about this, what is a good lifespan for a reefer, and I'll get back to you. Let's see. Hi, 1930s rapper. Okay. Tony, you're from Texas. Rates are low here because Mexican trucking companies can run here. I see. See, that's something I did not consider. But yeah, Texas rates, they're pretty bad. For reefers, they're not so horrible. For reefers, you can still get a decent rate per mile. For dry vans, my goodness, I barely got, my guy was stuck in Longview, Texas on Friday, and I got a $2.04 per mile load to California for him. Yeah. So we'll see what he does when he's in California tomorrow. I have to book another load. That's going to be fun. At least it's Southern California, where there are a little bit more loads than in Northern. Let's see. So we have 3 minutes left. Okay, it skipped. Let me choose some questions. Let me go to the bottom because I feel like I always miss you guys because by the time I answer the questions, there are a ton more that come up. Okay, let's see. Can you bring back the alter ego? Yeah, I've been thinking about it. I fired her for now. I'll think about it. What is my background? Business, accounting, operations, research. None of the above. I am, in terms of my studies, I am a psychology major, abnormal psychology. In terms of my work experience, I was a fashion recruiter and I worked in fashion, in the fashion industry, and then got thrown into the trucking industry, and it became the love of my life. Yeah. What load board is best for flatbed loads? So I have heard that DAT is actually not the best one. The best one is I think it's Truck Stop for flatbeds. Let's see. April, if we're lucky, rates will go up. Yes, that's what I'm looking forward to that time, very much so. Do I work with Amazon, FedEx, or UPS? I do not. I do not. I had an Amazon, I had access to the Amazon Relay load board for a while, and I never booked a single load from them because the rates there were not as good as I felt like I could negotiate on the load board on DAT. Let's see. Do you think it's a good idea to rent different trailers according to hot season? Have you ever analyzed it? This is something we didn't necessarily do it like that, but we rented a flatbed because it was doing better than any other equipment type, right? So we rented it. We made a good amount of money there. Ow. The flatbed rate started going down. We got stuck in the West Coast for like a month and a half. So we went to dry van, made really good money in January. Right now, the dry van is struggling a little bit, but I want to wait until around March, April to look at the flatbed again once the weather gets better. Mhm. Um, let's see. Okay, I'm going to answer one more question. Okay, a lucky one. Let's see, something that I haven't answered yet. Where and how do I find those charts I use? So I have a subscription to Sonar, FreightWave Sonar. And through the subscription, it costs $8,000 a year. You can pay every quarter, $2,000 per quarter, or twice a year, $4,000 every, like 2 times a year. And that's where I get the charts. It basically works, it's like a filter. They have so much data, and you can make those charts using all of that data. It is one of the best investments I have made. I absolutely love it. Okay, since I adore you guys so much, I'm going to answer one more. And then I do have to go. Something I haven't answered. Tesla released that they're set back about 3-5 years. See, I did not know that. See? Yeah. They're not a threat yet. Can someone run under your authority? Unfortunately, no, because of the AB5 law. I cannot lease on independent contractors due to the AB5 law in California. Sonar is an ELD, correct? No, Sonar, if you go to freightwaves.com, it's basically a news website, and Sonar is their system that analyzes a ton of data in the market. They have a ton of data, and then you can play with it and make your charts and make your spreadsheets and everything and analyze it. Anyway, guys, unfortunately, I have to go because I have a ton of things to do, but I really, really had fun as always. I'll see you guys in not next Sunday, but the Sunday after. And I really, really enjoy these. These are really, really fun. I hope that I managed to answer as many. I mean, I know I missed a couple of questions there, but again, it skips. But if you have any other questions, feel free to email me, talkabouttrucking@gmail.com. I am a week behind. I will get back to you. But for now, I do have to go. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.